What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pod Scum. I'm your host, Reckless Rex Ruger. That, of course, is the Freddie Mercury puppet. We are back with another amazing and incredible episode. My guest is here, and we are going to get down to it immediately. Here we go with another one. I'm excited. You're excited. We're all excited. At least we should be. If you're not, get your excited face on. We're off and running with my guy, Dean. There he is. What's going on, my friend?
It's Hippie Dude.
It's Hippie Dude. Yeah, well, just to catch you up to speed a little bit before we dive into this, I've had, and my subscribers know this, a very long and arduous process of going through the courts to prove once and for all that I am the one and only love child of one Diamond David Lee Roth.
Really?
Yeah. I think you could probably tell, though, right? You've been around this scene long enough, man, like where you can tell legends and even people that have inherited legendary status.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, dude. You gotta love David, man. He is the man when it comes.
You do have to love him, yeah. And I'm pretty excited that he's coming to my a local casino here next month. I'm gonna go see him do his one-man thing. I'm not really anticipating a teary-eyed father-son reunion because up to this point he's pretty much been a deadbeat dad. But you know, who knows?
Well, that's a bummer, dude. Because
that is a bummer. It is a bummer. Yeah,
you know, we need our fathers. You know,
we need our fathers.
At the end of the day, you know,
it's
that's a rough call, dude. You know.
I mean, hell, man, even Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker are able to reconcile to a certain degree, right?
Yeah, they tried.
They tried.
It's a good story.
Yeah. So lots going on, man, with the Leatherwolf world, man, right now, man, right? I mean, well, catch everybody up to speed, man, because there's got to be millions of fans out there, man, who love the who I think the originators of the triple axe attack. Me and Mike Oliveri talked about this. I don't know if many bands were doing three guitar players. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, man. But he seemed to think you guys were at least one of the first few.
I just think that what Jeff, Carey, and Mike were doing. At first, I think it was Jeff's idea. I think.
Yeah.
Because before that it was me, Jeff, Carey, Wendell Gare, and frickin' Jerome Severin just playing parties.
Yeah.
We were going, and then Wendell didn't want to sing anymore, which you got to love Jeff's brother, man. Wendell's he's a great guy. Then we just started trying to find singers, and Jeff and Mike were friends in high school, so I think that's what started that thing. And then they just started, those three guys just started playing together. And when it comes to that type of playing, it's Jeff Gare's alley of, that progressive, intricate, cool shit, I don't know. I mean, about the original, because there's Leonard Skinner, there's April Wine, there's but it's just a different level of playing. You know what I'm saying?
And you guys' wheelhouse, though, and I hate to I hate to dump the 80s metal label, man, but in terms of that time, though, and in your specific genre, I don't think anybody was doing the triple axe attack. Very few.
I don't think anyone was playing the kind of music we were playing.
True. Yeah.
And the guitar thing was just like kind of sort of for me like icing on the cake. You know what I'm saying? I mean, those guys, I mean, they put their time in, dude. They sit in Jeff's house and just play for hours, getting that stuff dialed, It's rare you find those guys that do that kind of stuff,
And now Michael seemed to think when I asked him, and correct me if you have a different opinion on this, man, but I told him that I felt that the way you guys structured your songs, the content of the songs, the lyrical content, the stuff you guys were writing about was not the atypical stuff associated with what we think of as 80s hair metal, hard rock, any of that stuff. You guys were coming at it from a very different angle. There was real substance and weight to the songs. I told him that I thought you guys should have been up there in that upper pantheon of those bands that came out of that era. When I think of that, I think of like the Def Leppards, the Motley Crues, the bands that really came out of that scene. Can you put a finger on why you think you guys didn't achieve that?
I don't know. We just showed up, played, and it worked out how it did. It's I really couldn't say about that, anyone that's writing music or playing writing a story about a song. It's up to the individual to tell his story, about
Right.
it. There was I mean, dude, I just played the drums and just learned how to, try to write parts to, Jeff's stuff and Mike's stuff and Carrie's stuff. And I watched him do vocal stuff, but I don't know, dude. I don't think there was any big old plan about writing a story, that had a deeper meaning to it, but Mike would be the guy you would ask about that stuff. But it shows who they are, the stories they tell. Carrie wrote some vocals, Jeff wrote a lot of vocals, Mike wrote a lot of vocals. I didn't write any vocals until, The World Asylum and on this record, Kill the Hunted. So it's but it wasn't to sell something, or it was just an expression of what I was thinking about,
Right. I mean, but do you agree though that like my point that I was trying to make to him was that I feel like Leatherwolf should have been a much significantly bigger band in terms of commercial success, in terms of I'm trying to put a finger on like why you think that eluded Leatherwolf.
I think honestly, I just think we were more musicians than we were businessmen.
Yeah.
And we just were totally wrapped up in playing music, and other people were handling business. And I just think we made some poor choices, going to Island Records and being classified as not a true heavy metal band, not a true band, and trying to ride off on like the hideaways and the calling aspect of music. I think it just affected the overall image of who we appeared to be, which I don't really think we really were. But I think that might also play out into, how much success we didn't have,
Were you guys at any point ever approached by your label to tweak your sound or to change your image at all?
No. I mean, we just did what we wanted,
Yeah.
I don't think that would be another Mike question, because I was just the drummer, I just did my stuff in that world. But I don't think anyone was ever approached to say, hey, why don't you try this? I mean, eventually you start thinking, okay, Motley Crue, Dawkins and those guys, and, Breaking the Law kind of stuff. You start thinking, oh, maybe something that's more catchy might be cool. But it wasn't like a plan, and
Right.
And after Street Ready, which is a great record, it's just the production wasn't that great. I think we should have just made a different decision, and said, let's just either be progressive rock or, heavy metal or whatever. But at the end of the day, Mike and Jerry and Jeff wanted to go do something different without me and Paul, so.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that to me was probably the end of Leatherwolf. That whole vibe that we had, from like 1980 to 1989, is we were on a team, and some of the guys wanted to go a different direction, and so that was what I think was the downfall of more Leatherwolf records,
And so you personally, how does your journey start into music? Did you grow up in a musical household?
Well, I'm a Dvorak, so my grandma and my mom's side of the family were all classical musicians.
Okay.
They're all cellists and pianists, just way higher level freaking music.
Yeah.
And so for me, I started playing in the orchestra and the jazz ensemble and the marching band in high school. And then I met Carrie, my junior year, and we just started playing. And that's when I started really. I didn't have a drum set till I was like freaking like after high school, probably like 19 or 20,
Okay.
And so that's when I just started learning how to play on a real drum set. When you play in school, it's just like an hour a day. You get to learn how to do stuff, and you get to learn how to read music, and you get to learn some more of the mathematics behind music.
Right. And right out of the gate, when you guys do link up together, who are the immediate influences? You know what I mean? Like, who's really got you motivated to want to play? Who are you listening to at that time?
Well, for me, it was like John Bonham, and
Yeah.
and it was like Deep Purple and Black Sabbath, and guys like that I liked. And then in 1980, that's when I started listening to Judas,
Yeah.
and Les Binks and Simon Phillips, and those guys. And that's when I started learning, just a higher level of playing, or even like Rush,
Yeah.
just a different level of playing.
And was the Leatherwolf sound organic when you guys all got together? Is that just what came? Was birthed when you guys got together, or was it intentional, or was it deliberate? Like that Leatherwolf sound.
So this is how music works. It's a contribution of all the players,
Right.
Create a vibe, and it's that vibe that kind of sort of initiates a tendency of writing. When you got a Jeff Gayer and you got a Michael Oliveri and you got a Carey, you kind of pick up on the vibe of their feeling of how they play.
Right.
And so it affects how you eventually perform the music, And so, no matter what band it is, it's always going to be the individuals that create the vibe. And
right.
It's not so much you think about it. It's just an expression of who you are,
Right. Right.
All that Leatherwolf stuff it's just truly an expression of who we all were at that time. And Jeff wrote a lot of that stuff, man. And he was a different type of writer, all those killer riffs. I mean, me and Rob kind of go, he's the king of riffs.
Yeah. 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 No question about that. And so how do you end up on the drums? Did the drums find you? Did you find the drums? Obviously, it's everyone's got their designated spot in the band. Every position is certainly important, but a lot of guys, especially early on, they want to be the guy out front shredding. They want to be the front man. What led you to the drums specifically?
It was my uncle. My uncle played drums, and that was my mom's brother. And so I started to like the drums. The first instrument I ever played was a flute in 6th grade.
Yeah.
But then in high school I started swimming and playing water polo, so that was my main gig.
Yeah.
And I just did marching band and music on the side, and because I always thought drumming was interesting.
Yeah.
So I really, when I got past 30, after I stopped playing drums, I started getting more interested in playing them, playing them better,
Yeah. And now that you've been doing it for a long time, how has your body held up? I know I've done almost 300 interviews with musicians on here, many of whom have been drummers themselves or are drummers themselves. And they say over the years that they have to make little tweaks to, how high they sit, the layout of their kit or whatever, because they get little aches and pains here and there. How has your body held up? It's obviously a very physical profession, playing the drums in a rock band.
Well, I went and played 2 shows in Japan, and I played for 90 minutes. And I always think about that, because I'm 63.
Sure.
When's it going to fall apart?
Who doesn't? Yeah.
So I didn't even break a sweat, dude.
That's pretty good. That's pretty damn good.
I swim and I work out, so I'm in pretty good physical shape. I try to swim 3 times a week.
And so the current lineup of the band, like, what can you tell people about this current lineup of the band? Obviously, I'm an old school fan. I love the classic lineup, but I've had Keith on the podcast as well. He's a great young man with a phenomenal voice too. So what can you tell me about what's going on currently with Leatherwolf?
Well, all the guys are great. I mean, that's why I keep doing it, is because I have fun. We go out and play drama, and Kurt and Luke and Rob and Keith and Garrett, the new guitar player. It's fun. I'm trying to, it's tricky business keeping 3 good guitar players, up to speed and playing.
Sure.
Stuff.
Sure.
And so it went well. So we got some other shows coming up, and we're re-releasing the first record, the 40-year anniversary.
Yep.
And Rob and I and Keith are finishing up some old songs that I recorded, and some some new songs that haven't been released. I sent you some of
You
those
sent me
songs.
some and they were fantastic. Yes, you did. You emailed me some. Yep. Yeah, they were amazing. Yeah.
It's
Amazing.
been funny. Yeah, I mean, over the years, I've learned how to produce, you know, and how to
Yeah.
get sound, and, you
Yeah.
know, cool thing. But it cracks me up that you know, Keith can sing like Mike, you know?
Yes.
You're like,
Yeah.
who is that?
Yeah. 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 Unless you really knew. Yeah. You'd be hard pressed without seeing the actual person singing to you know to pull a name out of the hat and figure out who it is. He does replicate what Michael does.
Yeah.
So do you feel like as far as touring goes, you know, you've been doing this a long time, man. Do you still get the same charge out of touring? And to what extent do you like to tour? I know as people get older, they probably don't like to be torn away from their creature comforts as much. You know, we all like to be homebodies at the end of the day. You know what I mean? I talk to guys on here who now they say 3-4 weeks is kind of the outer limits of how long they want to go out for. Where do you stand on touring?
I mean, the way I look at it is at the end, there's going to come a day where I can't play anymore.
Right.
So as long as I got a group of guys that want to go play, I'll go play.
Yeah.
You know, it still hasn't started getting to me, you know. But you know, we just do weekend stuff, or we'll do a week stuff, you know. So you know, so it's fun. You know, I haven't had to go out for like a month in a long time. You know, so I mean, I would do it, and everyone else would do it because you just musically get better at it. But you got to go do it before you get sick of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And now you have made an album. I think it's a couple years old now, man. But since Keith has been in the band as the lead singer, you guys have put on an album. What was the creative process like when you made that album? Was it collaborative? Did somebody have the lion's share of the ideas? And what will be the creative process going forward?
Yeah, Jeff. You know, Jeff is always going to be one of the original guys from LEATHERWOLF that sets that whole vibe for the Triple Axe Attack. So
yep,
he was a main player in that. And then me and Rob. You know, Jeff did arrangements, partial arrangements, and riffs. You know, me and Rob spent a couple years in the studio working on it to get it to where it got. You know,
right.
And then you know, we got Keith, and he came in just right off the bat. He was good. You know, so it was fun and it was easy.
Yeah,
that part of it, but just the intensity of the songs, you know, it takes a little bit of time to, you know, get that level in those performances. And plus we got to play with Barry Sparks.
yeah.
I
don't know. No.
You don't know Barry?
No.
Okay. So Barry is like one of the freaking monsters on bass. He used to play with Yngwie.
Okay.
And the rumor is that Yngwie got irritated at him because he could play his bass riffs, his guitar riffs on bass, you know?
Wow.
And Barry will play. He'll play with like Ted Nugent. He'll play with the Scorpions. He's done tons of stuff with Michael Shankner.
Yeah.
Uli. You know, he's going out with those guys this year. You know, I think in August, and then he's going to Japan with Uli, I think, or Michael Shankner. You know, but he's another guy that's just another high level player. You know, it's just nice. You know, when you get opportunities to play with.
Sure.
With guys like that, and plus there's no drama. It's just,
right. Right.
You know, what's up, man? That's funny. You know, it's very
it's a mellow time. It's mellow. Yeah.
Oh, and it's fun, you know, and plus it you know makes the music better, you know.
And so going forward, is a new LEATHERWOLF album in the works?
Well, I'm gonna like I sent you those songs. I got like, you know, 8 of those songs done, and I got about another 6 songs, new ones, and we're finishing those up this year, and then we're gonna do something. We're just not sure if it's gonna be individually out or an EP or how we're gonna work it, you know.
Do you feel like it's more of an EP world now because people's attention spans have dwindled so much? I've had the debate with lots of musicians on here where, you know, it seems like now it's like a track by track world. You know what I mean? Like people don't get into your deep cuts anymore. They don't necessarily listen to an album from start to finish. Not that everybody does this, but I mean, you know, people say, "Oh, I like tracks 1 and I like track 8," and then they listen to that and that's it. And you know, people are so busy nowadays. Does an LP still make sense?
I don't know. You know, to me, it's you know, it's 10 songs. You know, I like to have 10 songs, and if you get lucky, all 10 killer, then you know you hit a home run. And if you only have 2 good songs and 8, fillers. It's just a waste of time,
Right. Yeah, I know. It is one of those. It is one of those damn if you do, damn if you don't, because your fans wait. Then you give them something too short, and then they say, oh, what the hell is this?
Well, and so we're in Japan, and I'm doing an interview with Burn Magazine, and the guys, I guess, okay, I go, so what's your favorite Leatherwolf songs? And it's a bunch of just killer songs, Spirits in the Wind, Gypsies.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, and I really like The Henchman.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because people in Japan just like the new record, and
right.
go there and they're singing it. But The Henchman's like a 6-minute song, 7 minutes,
Yeah.
And once again, that's a Jeff Gayer riff, written in 1980. We just never finished it, but it just cracks me up, something from back then.
I know. And a longer song too. That's a long song too, as you mentioned.
Yeah, it's I kind of sort of added that ending, which kind of adds another 2 minutes,
Right. And so, are you like are you doing a lot of the songwriting in this current lineup of Leatherwolf, or all the guys contributing?
So that's a miss. I'm a drummer. I can come up with drum beats, but usually it'll be a singer that'll come up with a melody, or a guitar player that'll come up with a riff.
Yeah.
I'll have an idea that will trigger somebody playing a guitar to come up with a melody. So
right.
And every once in a while I'll write some words, like for Kill the Hunted I wrote the words, and for Only the Wicked, but usually the singer does all that stuff, and the guitar player comes up with a melody, and that's usually where you build a song. It's around a melody. Once you add the drum beat, you might come up with bridges and choruses and stuff like that, but it's usually more, the melody usually is from the singing and the guitar playing, not the drumming.
So does Keith do a lot of the does Keith now come up with a lot of the lyrical content?
Yeah, he did. He came up with most of it on the record.
Yeah. Oh man, he did an awesome job too, man. He really did. I mean, he's so how do you feel like this lineup that you currently have right now? Does this seem like a solid lineup going forward? Does everybody feel like they're kind of rowing in the same direction, so to speak? Like this feels like a pretty secure lineup of guys right now?
Yeah.
Because
Leatherwolf stuff is a little tricky to actually get it dialed,
Yeah.
And to get everyone dialed at the same time is a little bit of work, so, but these guys are great. They're all Luke and Garrett and Rob and Kurt and Keith. They're really, really good players, and they're really, really nice guys.
What do fans typically have the most reaction to, as far as like obviously the fans have a voice. They're a big part of what you guys do and the success of the band. What's the feedback from fans? When you're playing out in a live setting, do you notice that some songs and or albums resonate more with the fans? I mean, what's the general consensus like as far as like when you guys are up there playing, what songs are the most well received?
It's always like the simpler ones, like Street Ready.
Yeah.
Calling, even Hideaway. We didn't play Hideaway for like 5 years, but we started playing it. It's the simpler ones they like, they like, people like Kill the Hunted because it's a song. But then you get your classic guys that like the more intricate stuff,
Yeah. And you mentioned that you did some production on this on the last album, right?
Yeah, I produced it. I recorded it all.
Is that new territory for you, or had you previously done that?
Well, I did it on World Asylum, and I have some friends that can help me out, like Roy Z and Kramerica, and Randy Burns mixed this thing. He did it. So, I have friends that know way more than me. So, as long as I record solid tracks, they can whoever mixes it can have a better shot of making it sound killer.
Yeah.
But I learned how to get good drum sounds, how to get good guitar sounds, how to get good vocal sounds.
And was this just something that you just kind of learned like on the job training, just kind of jumped in and figured it out?
Yeah, it was a lot more simpler than I thought, and if you have the right gear, it just helps you get a way better sound.
Yeah.
know, it's a lot simpler than I thought it was going to be. You know, if you know how to tune drums, you know, and you know where to put a mic, it's not that freaking hard. You know.
Right, right. Now I know I did that. You know, I asked Michael this question, and he gave the diplomatic, you know, never say never answer. A reunion of the original guys. I mean, you know, and I don't mean to lead you into this and try to, you know, get some kind of a soundbite or some kind of a contrived answer. But, you know, Michael did make the point that, you know, and again, when I say the classic lineup, you know, you guys have had members that have come and gone. When I say the classic lineup, and I don't know if fans will disagree, I think of Dean, Michael, Paul Carmen, Jeff, and Kerry. You know, so anytime I refer to the classic lineup, you know, I mean, would there be any chance? I know everybody loves when things come full circle. Everyone loves, you know, that sentimental feeling when a band gets back together, comes back and does their thing again. Any chance of it ever happening in the future? I feel like you'll give me the never say never, Michael Oliveri answer, but
I don't see it happening.
Okay.
I think that I think me and Mike and Paul might play again or do something musical together.
Okay.
We actually have a friendship, and we actually, are, you know, pretty kind to each other, even though, you know, Mike wants to play with Jeff and Kerry, and every once in a while Paul does, and I desire, you know, but that's part of everything, you know. You just everyone has the freedom of speech, and they got their dream, you know. It's just, but me personally, it's just it's not fun for me dealing with certain people in that band, you know.
Yeah. So what did you think when they went out and did the Hail Mary stuff? What did you think in general of the band, you know, of the music itself?
I just think that I mean, officially you got the 3 original songwriters from Leatherwolf, so I was expecting just something different, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know, dude, you know, they're good, you know.
Yeah.
I just didn't, you know, it didn't do much for me. Not that it was bad.
Right.
Not what, you know, you think of those guys, you think of Season of the Witch, you think of Spider, you think of frickin', you know, Wicked Ways. You know,
right.
And
they set the bar high. They set the bar very high.
So that's the trick, you know. So even me, when I'm making a record and I'm using the name Leatherwolf, you know, the bar's pretty high, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even that last record, even World Asylum, you know, I mean, it's hard to, you know, get up to that level of that type of writing and those type of songs, you know.
Yeah.
So I know those guys got them in it. Got it. Those guys have it in them to do it, you know. I just don't know if they'll actually ever do it, you know.
Right. And so when a Leatherwolf song is being created, you know, either past or present, what's typically the formula? What usually comes first in a great Leatherwolf song? Does it usually start with the riff? Does it start with a title? Does it start with an opening line?
Well, for me, you know, like when I wrote "Kill the Hunted," the song, it just came from a little frickin' eighth note picking pattern on a frickin' guitar, that I could play, you know. And I was thinking of a British Steeler, you know.
Sure, yeah.
And so it came from a melody, and then I had to figure out a drum beat to go with it. But it could come from anywhere, man. It could come, you know. The calling came from we were in LA, me and Kerry, and we were rehearsing in this studio. And I just said, "Hey, Kerry, look at let's just try to write something simple." And I just go boom, bow, boom, bow. Then Kerry goes dun, 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 dun. Well, that's how it began, you know. Now you got to remember that's only like 1 minute of the 2 weeks it takes to build a song, you know. But
right,
you know. But a lot of the other songs, like Season of the Witch or Spider, you know, just would come from Jeff, you know, and he would come up with the riff, and then I would have to sit down and try to figure out, well, okay, what am I going to play during Rise or Fall? How am I going to, you know, so it, you know, it comes from all different angles. But a lot of that classic stuff, you know, those intricate riff stuff came from Jeff Gayer.
And what about your own listening trends? Like if you're putting around the house and you're listening to music for your own enjoyment from a fan standpoint, Do you tend to fall back on stuff that's familiar to you, or are you able to find on the streaming platforms or whatever? Are you able to find new music, new bands that excite you?
Not really. I'm just kind of stuck in the Motown stuff from the
Yeah,
set.
I'm kind of the same. I'm kind of the same type of listener too.
You know,
I
every once in a while,
try. I try.
like, I love Van Halen. You know, I can listen to them all day long. You know, and
Yeah,
I love the Sammy Hagar Van Halen. You know, it's two different styles, but
yeah,
you know, David Lee Roth was part of my childhood, dude. My high
absolutely.
school, you know, so there's no dodging that one.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard because there's no shortage of music on those platforms. I mean, there's new bands and new music and new artists coming out all the time, man. But everything that I come across just feels like, almost feels like you've heard it somewhere before and somebody's done it better. Not to sound snobby or anything, but
yeah, we're getting older, dude, and so we've been
yeah.
around.
Yeah,
so it's going to be hard to,
you're kind of jaded.
17, listening to something, and then now you're 25 and you're listening to something. Now,
right?
It's like I've heard it.
Yeah, I've heard it. Yeah, that's how I feel sometimes. Yeah. Now you've been out touring the world and been all over festivals and that kind of stuff. Have you ever gotten the chance to meet somebody that really blew you away? Who have you got to rub elbows with that was really a mind-blowing experience for you?
Well, like John Entwistle with
that's a big one. That's big. Yeah.
I met Ted Nugent. I met the guys from Whitesnake. I met the drummer. And he was just a nice guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, every time I just like the guys that are nice, because there's a lot of really, really good guys that aren't rock stars. They're not stuck in their ego. And every once in a while, you just get like me and Rob we're in Germany playing Keep It True, and Uli Roth walks in with a guitar, and I'm going, okay, Sad Wings of Sharon, man, what's this guy got to say? What happened? Why'd you leave?
Yeah, yeah.
So we sat there for like 45 minutes, and he just told us the whole Sad Wings of Sharon story and the whole thing about the Scorpions and stuff, and that's when I started learning that he was a piano. He plays piano. He's a classic piano player. And
yeah, what a talented guy.
Yeah. And he just didn't see the Scorpions as very talented. Which is kind of, but it took him a little time to figure it out, because he was more in the classic realm of things,
Right.
But, when you get to sit there with someone, I mean, because he's next level player, dude. He's part of history, and you just sit there and you just drink some Cokes and shooting the shit with, someone.
Legend. Yeah.
Yeah.
A bona fide legend.
Yeah. So me and Rob were just going, whoa. And then he was playing this stuff, and Rob was going, just watching him play, acoustic, warming up. And then after we played, we run into him on the side of the stage. He goes, I can't follow that, dude. I mean, dude, you're the man. So it's weird when some the guys just compliment, the Leatherwolf's music, and just like, whoa, that's cool. So that was cool. I mean, I didn't really I got to meet Rob Halford.
That's big. That would be big for me. That would be huge for me. Yeah. Priest was really I always cite Priest as my main band that really got me into hard rock / metal, man. So Priest will always have a very soft spot I'll always have a soft spot for them.
Yeah. So we played with them in like 2002, and he was nice. And I mean, me too, they just wrote tons of killer songs,
Unbelievable. I can't believe it. I can't believe after this tour, they're hanging it up.
Well, I hear that they're going out with Iron Maiden next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we'll see. Rob said, he's, it's a bummer, because even at his age, he still sings killer.
That's the point right there. Because you do see a lot of these guys, from that era going out, and they don't have the chops anymore, and maybe they stayed a little too long at the party.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Rob is, he's one of a kind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He definitely is not. But you're right, man. You make a good point though about us getting older. And you start to realize it when you see like, oh, there's Ozzy taking his final bow. He just played his last shows of Black Sabbath, or here's this band stepping away and that band stepping away. Like we're our legends are being replaced by this new crop of. That reminds me, these TV talent shows, these shows like The Voice, America's Got Talent. You put any stock in that we could find our next great artists like from these shows?
Well, just see. Just look back on history. How many people became legendary from that show?
Yeah, I don't know about legendary. I mean, I know people have sold albums and certainly made money or whatever, but I don't know that. Yeah,
And that whole shows that it's an individual thing. It's not a band thing.
right,
You know, I mean, where is Led Zeppelin? Where are the Deep Purples?
right.
Where are, you know, the Rainbow guys? You know,
Yeah,
where are those players? And more importantly, the writers.
yes,
You know, Jimmy Page. You know, I mean, he wrote some gnarly ass music over a
yeah,
short time. You know, and I mean, that's the thing. I don't know if it's my age or whatever, but it's you know, where are those guys that can write like that? Or Peter Gabriel,
yeah, yes,
Collins, the guys that can just, you know, write just gnarly ass hits. You know, stuff
yeah.
that's
Do you think that you guys were necessarily going back to that point I was making earlier about, you know, I think back to the bands that emerged from the 80s that really got that big stadium success. I mean, there was a lot of great ones, you know, your LA Guns, your Faster Pussycats, that next tier down. But that top tier, what I really think of is the Def Leppards, the Motley Crues, the Poisons, the bands that got really huge. You know, when I asked Michael about how, you know, how that eluded Leatherwolf, he kind of attributed to he didn't feel like maybe the label and management, maybe you guys didn't get the push. You know, maybe you guys weren't marketed appropriately. Would you agree? Is that a fair assessment?
no.
No.
Okay, so here's my opinion. Okay, is we had an opportunity after Street Ready, even though those things were bleak or whatever. If we just would have sat down and come up with that record, like a British Steel, you know,
Yeah.
doing all this other stuff, you know, and then all of a sudden they came up with that record, and it was more of a mainstream record, you know. And I don't think Leatherwolf ever really wrote a mainstream record, but see, that was the opportunity. I think is if we would have actually just sat down and worked it out, I think it would have worked. But I just don't think we were smart enough or wise enough to realize it. You know, we didn't need to change. We just needed to do something better. And still to this day, I don't think you know, we ever got to be the best musicians and write the best music that we could have done.
Yeah.
And that's my.
So you feel like after Street Ready came out, that was the pivotal point where you really needed to have an amazing album at that point in time, right then and there.
We just sat down and just thought about all that we had done and came up with the next record, because we had the visibility, and we could have stayed with Island and done another record, even though they were marketing us more as a glammy kind of rock and roll band. You know, we could have easily just got the right producer and just sat down and hunkered down and write that record, you know?
Yeah. I mean, do you think you guys were lumped in with the hair metal scene? And do you think people were expecting, like, hey, how come these guys aren't singing about chicks and drinking beer and partying and fast cars and all that kind of stuff?
I just don't think Leatherwolf ever got to where it was supposed to get to.
Yeah.
You know, it got to a certain point, and then everyone quit.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was just riding the wave out.
Yeah, and so you know, you go you know, 17 years later to the World Asylum.
Yep.
You know, and now it's a little bit more just raw and a little more hardcore, you know.
Is there so what was your assessment of the self-titled 1987 album? That was where where I discovered you guys. First of all, you guys did a cover of Bad Moon Rising on that album. Whose idea was that particular cover song?
I don't know. I think it was probably Mike's or Jeff's. I don't know. But
I feel like when I asked Michael the question, I feel like he might have chalked it up to Jeff.
Yeah, because it probably was, because down, down,
Yeah,
like a Jeff riff.
yeah,
You know, but that was an easy one. You know,
yeah.
You know, it was like an easy thing to do, and I was surprised that it got on so long. You know, I think we should probably start playing it again. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, so do you guys actually sit around and kick ideas around, like when you want to do a cover song on an album? Does everyone kind of throw out suggestions, and then how does it get determined, like when you cover a song?
Well, dude, that was like 30 years ago. So it was just
I mean, you guys have done cover songs though since, correct?
Not on records.
No, but I mean, you have done. But you have done. I mean, even live, do you guys do cover songs?
Nah.
Occasionally, not really. No.
We used to do some Judas, and we used to do some Iron Maiden stuff just because we love the songs. But normally we just show up because we figure people want to hear our music, you know. And
Right.
there's like 60 songs out there, you know. So does a person actually want to hear an original one of our songs, or they want to copying something else, you know? So my theory is they'd probably rather hear one of our songs than somebody else's.
What about since it was the era of MTV, man? Like, and again, off the top of my head, I can't remember how many videos you guys actually made, man. But do you feel like MTV, back in that time, it was helping a lot of bands? Everybody was making videos, high-priced videos, over the top stuff or whatever. I'm going back in my MTV files in my head. I do remember there being a video for The Calling, but I don't remember off the top of my head how many videos you guys made. But do you feel like that the music video was at all helpful in you guys' career?
It definitely introduced us to the world, you know, and it was Hideaway and The Calling, you know.
Yes.
You know, so in my opinion, I would much rather done something a little bit more heavy metal, you know, and just showed up on freaking Headbangers Ball. But
yeah,
you know, it's just the way it works, you know.
What do you feel like is a fair label, man? Like if people asked, like what label or what genre does Leatherwolf fall into? Because I believe there is certainly like a progressive side to what you guys do, but there's certainly elements of hard rock, certainly elements of metal. Do you feel like all those labels encompass what Leatherwolf does?
Well, I mean, is The Henchman a heavy metal song?
Yeah, no, not really. No.
it's a weird deal, you know. It's hard to ask the people that play it what it is. I mean, to me, is it heavy metal? You know what I'm saying? I mean,
right.
To me, it's just it's progressive rock and roll, which is more to me like heavy metal.
Yeah,
you know? But more like Judas or earlier Iron Maiden or Black Sabbath, you know. It's kind of, even Deep Purple, you know. It's kind of like that. When it comes to Leatherwolf, I mean, there's a lot of guitar players that can't even play the riffs.
I would imagine.
So you sit down with someone and say, okay, here's the riff. Can you play it? You know, and then a week later they come back and they still can't play it, you know?
Right.
So that's where I start thinking about Al Di Meola and Paco de Lucia and John McLaughlin, you know? Those guys, just how freaking rad they were, you know?
Yeah. And so let me get your version of the story. And so when I had Michael on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, he said that at one point, and I'm paraphrasing, I'd have to go back and really get the excerpt, but he said at one point there was an album that it didn't end up featuring it, but came close to featuring a song, Show Us Your Tits.
Yeah, that was a Kevin Beamish idea. And we were we were like in our early 20s, and at the end of the day, I'm glad it never came out.
I think he was too.
Well, it's because it wasn't Leatherwolf, and I was like, I was a youngster, and I was like, that is true. It was something that I think was in the Bahamas, and I don't even know if we recorded it or what, but there might be a little recording on a 2-inch tape with that stuff done.
Me and Michael talked about how. Well, me and Michael talked about how almost comparing that to like the Cherry Pie moment. Remember how like Janie Lane, all of a sudden everything became Cherry Pie, the video, the single, the album, and he really wanted to detach himself from that. You know what I mean? Like that could have been like your Cherry Pie. You guys would have been like that's the Show Us Your Tits band.
Yeah. Well, see,
might not have been good.
Well, it's one of those things. It's weird with rock and roll. From the musician side of things, it's usually going to be the song you hate the most. The record. It's going to be so it's like and I mean, Leatherwolf isn't really a sex band, or it's more of a storytelling band,
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
And it's at a certain level. but it still tells you a little bit of a story, like Thunder, you know.
Yeah.
And Jeff wrote those words like in 5 minutes, but when you listen to the storyline, it's pretty gnarly, you know.
Yeah.
Believe it in yourself, and just like Cry Out, you know, it's another one. Probably Jeff wrote it, but it's another one that's really emotionally touching when you listen to the story, you know.
Do you feel like maybe coming out of that era of the 80s that no matter what you do, you're almost damned if you do, damned if you don't, that you're just going to automatically be labeled because of the time frame that it was? You know, people are going to look at you like with the long hair and see you on MTV and just think automatically, okay, this is another one of those like, you know, sleaze rock 80s bands.
I just don't care. I do music for fun and to be creative, you know. And
Yeah.
everyone's going to have an opinion, you know. And
I mean, back then, though, do you feel like maybe that's what people like probably thought, like when they thought, like, okay, here's this band Leatherwolf, you know, and maybe didn't give the songs and the albums, you know, their just due?
I'm not so sure about all that stuff because it's just music, you know, and some
Right.
music sticks and some don't, you know. So, you know, there's 1,000 reasons that could possibly be right, but at the end of the day, it just didn't fly, you know. And my thing is as five friends, we just threw in the towel pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's my opinion, you know.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, valid or not, we just gave up.
Yeah, I agree with that because I did echo that same sentiment to Michael. I've told him every time he's been on the podcast. The songs were great. As I said earlier, you guys were coming at it from a different angle. It was lyrical content that most of us 80s kids weren't used to hearing about. As I said, we're used to hearing about the girls, the drinking, the party and all that kind of stuff, the excess of the 80s. You guys were coming at it from a different angle, but I feel like though that you guys were such great players. It just always leaves me scratching my head like every time I put on Leatherwolf. God damn it! How is this band not fucking huge? How did they not get huge? Why aren't they Def Leppard? Why aren't they Motley Crue? Like, why aren't we? I mean, it's just frustrating as a fan, I think.
Well, I just think it would have, when you look at the Def Leppards and all those guys, they have real management. Someone mapping it out. We never really had that, and we never really thought about it, and we were young.
Yeah.
We just didn't think about it. We just showed up and played and went out and played, and that's just how it worked out. If we would have just been a little bit more older and mature or had somebody that had some wisdom, I think, we might have got a little more success. But I don't know if we would have survived that success.
Right. Good point. And so what's going on currently now? So do you have a time frame on like when you'd like Leatherwolf to have a new album out? Now Kill the Hunted came out in 2022.
Yeah, I'm going to release probably 5 new songs and some old songs like you heard.
Yep.
By the end of the year, and in the next couple months, I'm going to release our very first record with some vinyl and some CDs, and that's pretty much this year. And writing a new record, I'm not so sure about that yet. I'm not so sure. Because it takes time, and plus now we got to do better than Kill the Hunted.
Right.
So you just got to figure out what you're going to do, and it's got to be in the same similar realm to do it,
Right. And what about touring, man? Like, do you guys have any dates for the rest of this year? Like, what's going on with your itinerary for the rest of 2025?
We don't got no more dates. It's really hard to get shows for us, So we got a show. We're going to do a show at the Whiskey, and then we're going to do another show in Orange County in like a month or so. And then there's some potential stuff happening around the United States, but nothing's confirmed yet. Okay.
What about I don't even know how popular they are, but I have recently seen some artists do them or whatever. A live album, to kind of showcase what Keith does.
I haven't thought about that yet because it's tricky to do these songs live well. And,
yeah.
If we got on like a tour and we were playing for like a month straight, then I would think about something like that. I'd find a place to go do it because it would be killer, to have a real live recording with Keith singing on it.
Yeah.
Rob playing on it and all those guys playing well, that level of songwriting, you know. But it's not thought about yet unless something comes up in the tour world, you know.
Yeah. You've answered it all, Dean. We've laid all the cards on the table, man. I asked all the questions that I wanted to ask. I like the fact that you were so honest. It seems like, unfortunately, for fans out there, it sounds like don't hold your breath for a full-on reunion, but some of you original guys could be working together in the future. We'll leave it at that. Yeah. I mean, that sounds like the most diplomatic way to put it, right?
Yeah, I mean, in life, dude, you have to respect friendships.
Without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt.
Once you lose that, there's really no point in going any further.
It's hard. It's hard. And I know from having done this podcast for as long as I have, man, you know, not being a musician myself, I do understand it though now to a much greater degree when musicians will say it's like being in a marriage. I get that. You know what I mean? I as a longtime married guy myself, I see that correlation. You are out on the road, you are traveling with these people, you're in intimate settings, you're sharing a stage, you're bouncing off, you're working off each other creatively. It really is something where there's got to be harmony.
See, that's the thing, dude, is that's friendships. I mean, everyone affects everybody else.
Yes.
And some elements are just really hard to deal with, 24 hours a day,
yeah,
a week for a month thing. It's just not fun.
Right. And obviously it affects the finished product too. You know what I mean? Because you're putting together something, that's being made by, 4 or 5 different individuals, and everyone's mood. You certainly is going to dictate their playing and their contributions to it. So
yeah,
it's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope,
man. But such is life. I think marriage is harder than music stuff.
Yeah. I'd have to agree.
There's always. I mean, the way I look at it is there's initiations. You got to learn how to not be selfish and self-centered.
Yeah.
Even though a lot of people are and don't even know it.
Right. Good point. Yeah. But hey, it's great to see you. It's great to see you're still doing good. You look fantastic, man. The band sounds great, man. And I'm always going to be locked in to anything that comes out with the Leatherwolf name on it, no matter who's involved. I'm a fan. So, I mean, I appreciate the fact that there's a version of Leatherwolf still around. And I know people, will get on social media and they'll say, oh, this isn't the real thing. Everybody's not there or whatever. But we got to take what we can get in life. I mean.
Yeah, I've been dealing with it for years, dude. It's, somehow it's my fault, and somehow I broke up Leatherwolf, and even though
anytime those bands split, and my favorite is when there's 2 versions. Like there's 2 Great Whites for a while, and then everyone's like, oh, no Jack singing, this is crap. This is not really Great White. You know what I mean? And then people will say the same thing about his version. Oh, yeah, Jack's got the voice there, but where are the rest of the guys? You know what I mean? So, I mean, you can't please everybody.
No, but I get it. It's who's going to go watch Led Zeppelin with only the singer in the band? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah,
not the same, dude. There's no way around that.
It leaves you flat. It does. It just leaves you flat. But yeah,
I get it. Hey,
yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, but I'm glad we got a chance to do this, buddy. And certainly stay in touch, man. And anytime anything's going on, man, you're always welcome on here, man. You have a platform here. I'd love to have you back, man.
Well, thank you very much, sir. And hey, if you want one of those Japanese shirts, just email me your size, and I'll send you one.
Oh, I'd love that, man. I'd love it. Huh?
Did you see the Japanese shirts?
No. I might have, because I am friends with you on Facebook, and you're always putting stuff up. But I see so much stuff throughout the course of the day, man.
Hang on one second, dude.
Yeah. I definitely need some Leatherwolf. I definitely could use some Leatherwolf merch in my life for sure. It's not like you can just walk into like a store now and into a Hot Topic or Spencer's Gifts and see a Leatherwolf shirt hanging there.
So here's this was the hot seller in Japan.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, do you have one of those in a 3X?
The back.
Off,
dude. Yeah. I'm getting some made because these things sold out before we even played.
Yeah, so my fat ass needs a 3X if you have one.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you were you don't look that big, dude.
Yeah, I'm 6'4", 250 pounds.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
I'm 6'2", 120.
I mean, I'm sitting down here at the desk or whatever, but yeah, I'm a I'm a tall, big drink of water.
Right on, dude.
But I'll send you the shirt size and I'll send you my address, man, as soon as we're done.
Right on, buddy.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing this, Dean. Thank you so much, buddy.
Hey, thanks. Hope to see all you guys soon, you know, when we're touring around the United States.
Can't wait, buddy. All right, we'll talk again soon, my friend.
Right on.
All right, later, brother. There he goes, folks. The legendary Dean Drum Machine Roberts of LEATHERWOLF, still keeping the band going, man. You guys know him. You guys love him. The Triple Axe Attack. They were one of the, I'm just going to call them pioneers, man. There might have been other bands, and he mentioned a couple, Leonard Skinner, this and that or whatever, but bands that were doing LEATHERWOLF-style music, hard rock / heavy metal. Nobody was really doing the 3-guitar thing before those guys. I'm going to go on record and saying it, and then people can just prove me wrong in the comment section like they always do. I don't know. But been a long time coming, man, to get Dean on here and chop it up with him and hear his side of things and his version of the whole LEATHERWOLF saga. A band that I've been on record as saying a bunch of times, in my opinion, should have been huge. If you don't know the LEATHERWOLF discography, go back and check it out, man. You know, if you're into big, thick, meaty guitar sounds, you're definitely going to love them because, as I said, there were 3 guys ripping the axe in the LEATHERWOLF band. But great songs, great song structures. If you're thinking they're an 80s band, you're not going to hear songs about chicks partying, boozing it up. All the typical stuff, not to knock that I didn't love that stuff. Growing up in the 80s, it was a frivolous, fun time, a decade of decadence. We all remember the 80s if we were there. I'm 52 years old, very much a byproduct of the 80s. Very much love my good glam and sleaze rock. Nothing wrong with it. Love my Faster Pussycats, my LA Guns, my Tricksters, my Wingers, my White Snakes, my Motley Crue, all that stuff, man. Sleazier the better. You guys know where I stand on sleaze. Can't get enough of it. But LEATHERWOLF is certainly coming at it from a different angle. The songs really had weight, substance, great storytelling. Still very much musically in line with that time period. But what they did was extremely amazing, extremely unique for those times. Just an amazing band. That I just think was, I again, really couldn't put a finger on it with when I had Michael Oliveri on, lead singer, he kind of pointed towards me, band management. You heard Dean say they just really didn't plan well. They weren't great businessmen. They were young. They didn't really, have a great team, maybe propelling them in over their heads a little bit. Didn't stay the course, whatever. Certainly lots of obstacles, pitfalls or whatever, but a great band when the dust settles, and still out there doing their thing right now. Lineup looks a little different, obviously. Still got Dean there, man in the helm. Still the backbeat of the band. Of course, original members not there. Keith Adamiak doing a great job fronting the band though right now, singing amazingly, and they're still out there doing their thing. At the end of the day, you can go to their website, you can go check, you can go find, scattered tour dates here and there. They are still popping up. They are still playing live. Their most recent album, Kill the Hunted, came out in 2022. So they are still very much a viable band out there doing their thing. So go check them out. Go support them. And all the guys individually, so talented. Would love to see them come together again. Dean didn't seem to think the door was open to a full-on reunion, but seeing the classic lineup together would be great. And again, when I say the classic lineup, I think of Michael Oliveri, Jeff Gayer, Kerry Howe, Paul Carmen, and of course, Dean. But listen, we still have those old albums. At the end of the day, when the dust settles, we still have those amazing albums. I tapped in around 1987 when the self-title came out, but there's Endangered Species, Street Ready, an absolutely amazing album. World Asylum. The albums that are out there are absolutely amazing. So even if we have to just settle for those, there's a plethora of great music out there. And Kill the Hunted is the most recent that came out in 2022. Also an amazing album. And we'll just see what the future holds. A lot of never say never. New music, getting back together. Lots of things up in the air that we could see happen. You never know, man. People's attitudes change. The times just change. So we'll see. That was the diplomatic answer right there. Much like Michael Oliveri gave. Shout out to him as well. Shout out to all the LEATHERWOLF guys. I've had the privilege of having Kerry Howe on here as well. Great guys, a great band that deserve to be heard and listened to. With that being said, now I go into my shameless promoting. Make sure to follow PodScum on Facebook at Off the Couch Boxing and PodScum, 2 separate podcasts, sharing one Facebook page. I probably should split the Facebook pages up, but I'm synonymous with both, so we're going to keep it the way it is. So if you want to follow what's going on with either podcast, it's Off the Couch Boxing and PodScum on Facebook. And of course, if you're watching right now, this is where you really need to be. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to hit that notification bell to stay tapped in. You know what we do here, the most amazing and real conversations, man, with musicians from all walks of life, from any different genres. And of course, who better to hold it all together than your boy Reckless Rexx, a.k.a. Diamond David Lee Roth Jr. You know it. I know it. The world is soon going to know it once and for all that you are looking at the son of glam, the front man for the band, adored by millions of fans, the peanut butter to your jam, Mr. Wham Bam. Thank you, man. Wop, bop, loo, bop, wop, bam, bam, shazam, hot damn. I look like the man. I sound like the man. I've inherited my legendary status, but it's legendary status nonetheless. You can't take it away from me. And that's that. At the end of the day, continue to stay tapped in. Continue to watch PodScum. Continue to watch Off the Couch Boxing. I implore you guys to go check out the playlists for both. There is something for everybody, literally. If you're a music fan, tap into PodScum. There are interviews and conversations with some of the most amazing artists in pop, hard rock, and heavy metal, and punk rock. Same thing with Off the Couch Boxing. If you're into the pugilism, go on there. There's something for everybody. Interviews with the OGs, the legends of the sport, amazing champions and amazing fighters on the rise that are going to be tomorrow's champions. So there's a lot to sink your teeth into when you go to Off the Couch Boxing and PodScum, both on Facebook and on YouTube. So make sure to get tapped into both. And also remember, and this is your old boy, Uncle Rexx here telling you, remember to take it easy and keep it sleazy.